What is up, ladies and gentlemen? To those who are watching, this is a stream that I wanted to put together because I absolutely love Cyberpunk 2077. And I've collected some guests, some people here to talk about the newest DLC, Phantom Liberty. So this is going to be an interesting discussion. We're going to be talking about the base game, the DLC itself. We'll be diving into some spoilers, so we'll actually be talking about a lot of what happens in the game, and if we can, I did have a little tab for things that we could expect for the sequel to Cyberpunk because they're already working on it, and it's going to be a very interesting game. Now, this is just going to be just me, so no Meta, no RJ, unfortunately. Meta is sort of busy with his own personal stuff, and RJ didn't get a chance to play the DLC. So hopefully, the next spoiler discussion, which will probably be Spider-Man, you'll probably see RJ, maybe Meta, but we'll have to see. But for my guests, I want to introduce Blue Jay. So, what's up, Blue Jay?
How's it going, everybody?
Nice, pretty nice. Kind of mellow, but still nice.
Mine's
And
pretty hectic.
yeah, it's gonna be. I haven't hosted in a while, so it's gonna be a little bit weird, but
Yeah.
bear with me. And then we got another close friend of mine, Monkey, or an amazing monkey, which is a weird name. I don't know why you picked that name, but
Because I'm an amazing monkey.
okay, a bit sus. I'm not gonna lie. A little bit sus.
I like bananas, man. Come on.
Oh man, not this again. Not this again. This happened on my
last stream. That was my last. And that was the last stream I was in when I talked about bananas. Or was it?
Yeah, that was
last. I think I got fired after that banana shit.
Yeah, that was like the last stream. I can't remember. It's been a while. That was like since March. We're in October now.
Yeah, it's been a while, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna for the stream, I wanted to test out. I'm gonna play some gameplay in the background. So this is gonna be spoilers. So if you've not played the game, I would be wary because I'm gonna just show a bunch of stuff from the DLC. Now, to get into it, to jump right into it, I want to hear your, my guests' thoughts on the base game. What do you guys think? Let's start with Blue Jay. What do you think about Cyberpunk in general, or going into the DLC?
So when Cyberpunk came out 3 years ago, 2020, I was one of those people that was really hyped for this game. I really was. I've seen. I think it was 2018 that I first seen clips. I seen like the first one of the trailers of it, and then I seen some of the other ones, and I was just kind of just waiting patiently for this release date to come out. And then once the game is dropped, the glitch it was very have its problems.
Right.
It's just very glitchy, it's just, you could tell it's unfinished, but I was able to play the story mode through, and I still think that it's still a really good game. It just needed to be patched up, like aggressively patched. So after that, and really I beat the game on PS4, but then when I had it on PS5, I got a PS5, and then coincidentally enough, the update came out, I think right around the Edge Runner Netflix show that just dropped.
Right. Yes.
A lot of it became a lot more smoother. I think it became a lot more cohesive now. It's like, okay, it's a much more better experience now. Then we have this DLC that came out, and obviously which honestly this DLC kind of snuck up on me because there was so many other games that came out, like Mortal Kombat, Spider-Man 2's coming out, and this is just stuck out of nowhere.
Starfield 2, there was a bunch
of
games.
Starfield as well. I was like, Jesus. So when I got this DLC, I got the DLC. I thought it was free, but okay, but $30. I was like, okay, makes sense because it's basically like a story mode DLC, which okay, cool. So I got it. Then I still loved it. I loved the DLC. It was awesome. It was one of the. I really I don't know. I really I think I like this equally as much as the base game.
Right.
Even though
Yeah.
like it kind of felt like a sequel in a way because I keep because it's like it's marketed as like a different game.
Mhm.
I feel, but so it's really good in its own right.
Yeah. I mean, the DLC. I mean, I've been waiting for the DLC for quite some time. Just because this is on a different channel. I've talked about my thoughts on my own channel about this game, which Monkey knows. I was really excited for this game. I pre-ordered it. I was, I wanted this game to be good. I remember seeing it back in 2013. That's how long ago they announced this game. The whole
Really?
CGI trailer. Yeah. It's been a minute since they announced this game. And I constantly flip-flopped on it like when they re-revealed it back in 2018. I wasn't the biggest fan of the aesthetic, but I just really wanted a cyberpunk, Blade Runner-esque game, right? So, that's why I pre-ordered it. And then I got the game, I played it, and it was buggy as hell. I must have had probably the worst of it. I mean, Monkey even saw it. He came to my house, he saw the game. This was an absolute mess of a game. I've never seen a AAA game launch this bad. It got memed to hell and back, right? And for a good 2 years, I hated on this game because I couldn't finish it. I couldn't beat the game. I made fun of it. I gave it the roasting that it kind of did deserve. Let's be honest. But yeah, and then eventually, around this year, because Monkey actually played it last year, and I was making fun of him for it. I was like, "Hey, man, you went back to that broken buggy game. What the hell's wrong with you?" But
Yeah.
but yeah, then I came back to this game, played it, pretty much got close to platinuming it. I didn't platinum it, but I got a lot of the trophies. I did a lot of the side quests, the gigs. I pretty much did every single thing I could in this game, and I was floored. I absolutely love this game. Like, I've become obsessed with this game. The lore, the characters, the writing. I mean, listen, there's a lot of games that I would say have really good writing, right? Like The Walking Dead season 1, The Last of Us. There's a lot of great games out there, right? But this, I was not expecting this, right? And for those who don't know, Cyberpunk is actually based on a tabletop game created by Mike Pondsmith. So they're bringing in a lot of previously established lore, but they have to sort of introduce you to this world as if you've never experienced that tabletop game, which they do a fantastic job, right? Because most people didn't even know, right? Which just shows you how, the writing and how they flesh out the world and some of the events that goes on, right? Especially with like, Johnny Silverhand and the whole bombing of Arasaka and how that leads into the story. It was pretty well done. So, this is me coming back to the game after playing it in March, and they also had the update, which was a big deal. But I kind of want to hear Monkey's thoughts. What do you think about the game?
So the game, I was excited for it at the time when it was first. Give me a second.
Oh, he got cut away, man. They took him away from us. Oh man. Okay, so when he comes back, I'll continue talking. Sorry about that, folks. But yeah, so going into this DLC for me, I've been waiting for 3 years, right? Just to see if they would actually fix the game.
I am back. I'm sorry about that. Holy
yeah. You cut me. God
dude,
damn, man.
It's something happened. Sorry. So no, like I was saying, I wasn't super excited. I was like hyped for the game.
Right.
But like again, it was like because I didn't really know much about Cyberpunk beforehand, the at least the world, I was like, yeah, it's probably gonna be a good RPG or whatever, because I played The Witcher 3 and I enjoyed it a lot. And I was telling Blinded about it, and he was like, man, I don't know about The Witcher 3. I don't know if I want to play it. And I was always talking about how that game is a great game and it has great writing and character writing and characters and world building and stuff like that. And so I was excited for the game, but I mean, when it came out, it was a buggy mess. And so when Blinded bought it on the PS4, I was thinking about buying it, but I had a base Xbox One. So I'd have the worst experience possible if I bought this game. I wouldn't even be able to play it. So I didn't buy it at the time, and then I waited a couple of years and I got my Series X. And so I think the first game I bought for the Series X was Cyberpunk, because I wanted to play it. I was always thinking about playing it. So I bought it, and I absolutely just fell in love with the game. I thought it was incredible. I thought it was a game that there's nothing like Cyberpunk, you know, in terms of writing and characters and just the world and the architecture. I mean, look at Night City itself is like a piece of art, right? It's so different every district, every area. And so I was like, this is like an immersive experience that I've never had before. And I absolutely fell in love with it. And I was enamored by mostly just like the amount of good writing in this game. It's just like constantly the quests were always like, even if they were small quests, you know, it didn't matter. They were always well done. Even like just the gigs. At the time, I thought the gigs were okay. But like looking back now, after doing some base gigs again and playing the game again, the gigs are fantastic. There's just small bits of writing and small bits of character building and world building that it's incredible that the game has this, right? And for me, I think I was telling Blinded how like at times I wouldn't even do any quests or do any of the gigs or anything. I just drive around Night City and listen to the radio, because it was just like you're driving and you're, you know, going through Night City, and you just have this weird immersion that you don't get, right? Like I'm going through Santo Domingo, one of the districts in Night City, and it has this weird kind of amber light, and you're driving through this like kind of rugged area, and I don't know, something about driving through that area and playing the radio just was incredible. Just small stuff like that, and I absolutely fell in love with the game. And I remember I was telling Blinded how incredible the game was, and he was like, "Nah, man. This game's shit. This game ass, man." And I'm like, no, you have to play this game. He didn't believe me. He didn't believe me for a long time until he played the game, and then he knew the game was cooking. The game was certainly cooking. And
after this patch, I mean, I might consider putting this in the top 10. This is definitely top 10.
I would say this is definitely in the top 10, because I played a version that wasn't the next gen version. It was basically an exclusive update to Xbox, which PlayStation didn't have at the time. It was like a better version than on PlayStation. That's the version I played, and even then I liked the game. But going back now with 2.0, man, the game just skyrockets in quality.
Yeah, this game should have never released on the base consoles, because I played it on the performance mode on the PS5, and it was a much better experience. Even when I flick between the ray tracing 30, it's not the same. And then when you see, I mean, if I ever got my hands on a 490, okay, I would definitely play this game on overdrive, right? Because it almost looks like real life, like the lighting and some of the character models. It's absolutely insane. I'm not sure if you guys seen the overdrive version of the game, but
I've never seen it. I'm sure it looks great. So like when this I never had any. I do have like buggy issues while playing the PS4 version of the game, but I was able to beat it, like in a way. It was mostly because like whenever you're driving a car, you're trying to like switch the cameras around. It's always been like some 10-second delay when it switched to a camera. Where like in the interiors and they're out the car and all that stuff. It's very obnoxious. But with this DLC, I really, it's night and day. I was like, it makes you makes you think like, shouldn't we like, you know, I remember when it was originally supposed to come out like November 2020, and it was switched to December, and everybody was like crying and all, like it's just 3 weeks. 3 extra weeks. And when it came out, well, careful what you wish for. I was like, I kind of wish we could have waited though. Just like it would have been a
I think
better
it needed the 3 years, to be honest. I really think if this game came out, let's say September of this year, with all of this DLC and the base game and the update, this will probably be considered game of the year. This actually might even win game of the year, right? And I know there's a lot of great games coming out this year, but the way that Cyberpunk, again, the lore and the characters, and sure, I don't maybe the gameplay isn't Tears of the Kingdom. Okay, maybe it's not Baldur's Gate and revolutionizing a certain genre, but what it's able to do, right? It does it extremely well. And I don't like when people compare Cyberpunk to Starfield, because again, I do like Starfield. I mean, I didn't put, Monkey's put, I don't know, he's put at least 100 hours into the game, right? I've only put 50.
I think I only put like, not 100, maybe like 86.
You put 80, a lot of hours 80. Into the game.
Yeah, but I lived in, was breathing that game for like 2-3 weeks straight. That's the only game I played for like 3 weeks, basically.
Yeah, you played a bit of Starfield, right, Blue Jay? I'm not sure if you played like us. We were way too deep into that game.
I played a little bit of Starfield. I had it on Game Pass.
Right.
I played a little bit. I think not really as much. I think it was around when Mortal Kombat. I think I was kind of just playing it before Mortal Kombat. I was mostly waiting for Mortal Kombat to drop. And I was mostly playing that, and then I'm mostly playing Cyberpunk, and I'm just waiting for Spider-Man 2 to come out.
Yeah, that's it. A lot of games are coming out now, but yeah, I feel like this. It's a shame that this never got the chance, the spotlight, to be considered game of the year, because I feel like people, even now, we're obviously seeing people change their opinions, right? I changed my opinion, which I'm not ashamed to say, right? But this is definitely a new level that they took it to. It's revamping the game, the DLC itself. And so I do want to dive into the DLC now. I'm going to remove that. Let's put up the new banner. And let me put some new gameplay up. Give me a moment. Yeah, look. Because that's in my files here. I think that's okay. Need that. So I do want to kind of give a summary of this DLC for the people who, even though we are going to be talking spoilers, this DLC is not a continuation of Cyberpunk. This actually happens in the middle of the game. So right after the Voodoo Boys, I keep saying brothers, the Voodoo Boys quest in the main game, where you have to meet up with Bridget, and they're sort of dealing with the Black Wall, you get a call from a mysterious character known as Songbird. And weirdly enough, she kind of tells you to go to a part that wasn't in the base game, known as Dogtown. Now, I don't want to get too much into the lore, but Dogtown was a area in Night City that was referred to as the combat zone, where, the basic premise of it is it's kind of like Escape from New York, right? The police would just put all their, hardened criminals, these terrible people, in this one area of Night City, and pretty much, throw away the key. Forget about these people. So if you were born in the combat zone, you lived a terrible life. Now, years later, it seems like Militech came in, which Militech is a corporation who's kind of fighting against Arasaka in this game. They're sort of rival companies. They're not too much in the game, and again, we could be here all day talking about all these different companies that are in the game and how they play a role. But Militech has sort of come into Dogtown, or the combat zone, and try to revamp it, but it became like a failed project, and so they had to pull out. And as a result, one of their sort of leading commanders, or one of their soldiers, kind of took the reins of the combat zone and made it into his own, which has now become Dogtown. And that soldier is obviously Kurt Hansen, which is a villain in the game. We'll get into it. But essentially, you are tasked with finding or helping the president. That's the task that Songbird gives you. And once you find the president, a new mystery emerges where Songbird has disappeared. She's gone off the radar, and there's a lot of weird things about Songbird. First off, she's able to connect to I forget what it's called, not the engram. You guys are gonna have to remind me what the name of it is.
The relic.
The relic. There we
Relic,
go. Yeah, so she's able to connect to the relic, which is really odd because so far in the game, no one's able to do that. And there's a lot of weird things about Songbird that we don't really understand. And throughout the course of the DLC, we get to understand, right? And so in order to find Songbird, the president, President Myers, she sends you to look for a character or a sleeper agent known as Solomon Reed, which is played by Idris Elba. So this whole DLC, as it's been marketed, it's pretty much a spy thriller type where you're doing a mystery, trying to solve this case of what happened to Songbird, while also learning about people like Solomon Reed, Alex, President Myers, Kurt Hansen, and pretty much the whole town of Dogtown. Because again, Dogtown wasn't in the base game. So it's quite, I would say personally, and we'll get into this. What's up, George, by the way? I didn't mention, sorry, I should mention people in the chat. We got some friends coming over, and obviously RJ stopped by. So I do appreciate that. But now, getting back into the game itself. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts just from the opening of how this DLC starts, because I was actually impressed. I think it was the most bombastic kind of action movie style opening that this game did, even with the heist and all those stuff that happened in the base game. So what's your guys' thoughts on that?
Okay.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, Blue Jay can go first. Sorry, I should have named something.
Okay. So yeah, I was almost kind of just shocked because Cyberpunk, as far as I can remember, Cyberpunk, I mean, it's a very action oriented game, but it doesn't have like a very like the crazy stuff that happened like in the base game. We had to steal the relic and you had to slide down that building and all that cool stuff. This is just like, oh yeah, a giant plane just crashed.
Yeah, and you have to like run through Dogtown. That was the gameplay I was showing in the beginning, but you run through Dogtown to save her and save the president, which is who you're seeing on screen right now. I'm just playing in photo mode, but yeah. So there's not a lot of characters that are introduced here, but the characters who are introduced, again, maybe this is just recency bias, but I feel like they were the most complex characters in the game, even with Johnny and Pan Am and Judy and all these other characters that you meet. These are the ones who, if you would consider them heroes, villains, anti-heroes, there's no real like stance that they take. They're very gray characters, which makes them extremely well-written characters. Even President Myers, who is barely in the game. Once you save her, she's pretty much out of the game, right? Until she comes back, depending on your choice at the ending. So what is your guys' thoughts on the characters, right? The four main characters that are introduced: Solomon Reed, Kurt Hansen, President Myers, and Songbird. So what are you guys' thoughts? Monkey can go since.
Yeah.
Well, the characters, I gotta say, it just feels like the writing went into a more of I don't want to say serious, because I mean there was serious stuff in Cyberpunk, obviously, but I feel like the writing was like a bit more improved in character writing, because it felt like every character there's more complexity to them than like what you got from the regular. I mean, yeah, there besides Pan Am, River, and Judy and Johnny, there's not a lot of characters you can think about that are so complex as Solomon Reed or So-Mi. And there's times where I felt like I didn't know what to do. Like I never felt like in Cyberpunk where, oh, this is bad and this is good, right? I felt that was more prominent in the base game, whereas when I played the Phantom Liberty DLC, I felt like, oh my god, I don't know who's good or who's bad. right? And there's no good or bad, and it really is it's kind of tough to figure out because they feel like real people. They feel like
Right.
you're actually talking to real people who are, you might be like, oh, why are you this way, or you know you look at them and you can understand them. There's some empathy. There's like, oh, you feel for them, but then they might do something that you might go, oh, I really disagree with this person for this, but then I still like him for this, and I still care about this character. I don't know what to do, and now I have another character, and it kind of makes you feel like you're a person stuck in, like, you're like a fish out of the sea or something, where you're kind of put in a situation where you don't know who to pick and who to choose, and you're like, is there right or wrong? And I guess the characters, they just felt like, I felt they felt more real. I think that's what I can say about the characters. They felt more real, and they felt like they had good arguments for their cases.
Right.
And it's like, you don't, when you pick a character, you choose to align yourself with somebody, you don't go in thinking you picked the good person or the bad person. You just pick someone who you
Align
want to
with.
help out, align with, like someone that you align with for certain reasons, because you expect
Right.
something to get something out of this person, or you expect them to do something based on the choices you made, and it might go in a different way than you expect. And that's certainly what I felt when I chose the character that I chose. I felt like, oh, I was hoping for this, but this happened instead. And I feel like it's a good way of like really upping the ante in character writing, and it makes you really think about your choices, where I never really thought too much about them in Cyberpunk, the base game, but here I really
Yes,
did
yeah.
feel like, yeah, here I really felt like any dialogue choice can alter something, or if I say something wrong, something else can. There's even something that happens in the beginning of the DLC, where if you like do something, the character does something to you, and it's like, oh, that's kind of funny, or that's kind of cool. Like, I didn't know that would happen, and it kind of took me by surprise that happened. But yeah, in terms of writing and just the characters themselves, they're a lot more complex, and I felt like they were written better than what you got in the base game. And I definitely think they're an upgrade, and I hope there's more of them. I hope there's more, at least character writing like this in the next game, and I hope maybe these characters come back. And yeah, that's what I want to say about the characters so far in the Liberty DLC.
I agree, because most of the time, because when it comes to like 2077, like the base game, like I've also, like, the choices never kind of made me just make me think for like at least 5 minutes.
Right.
Because with the DLC, like I didn't expect the DLC to make me just think for like 5 minutes or something like that. Because I'm like, okay, I'm when it comes to the game, I usually I underestimate the choice, or I just kind of overthink the choice, even in the base game sometimes. But then this one, I was like, okay, maybe you gotta maybe I should think this for now. But like, literally, there was a
Yes.
part. I'm like, I'm not gonna say what it is yet. Like, we're not gonna say what it is yet. But like, there was a part, literally, like a choice that I have to make, and I was having a hard time where I paused the game and I just did my laundry for 5 minutes so I can think of it.
Yeah, I had to. I mean, we'll get to that part, because that's going to be the part where I think the discussion is going to get really interesting. I had to take a break at that part, and then play it the next day, because I had a lot of thoughts. But yeah, we'll have to save that. But there is one character, without getting too much into spoilers, I wouldn't say he's complex like the other three characters. I'm obviously referring to Kurt Hansen, right? Kurt Hansen, it's interesting, right? Because he's framed as the villain in the game, right? He's the one that is supposedly doing all these stuff. Like, when you start to obviously begin the mission, they frame it in this way where, oh, he might be behind some things, right? But without getting into spoilers, he's sort of like a red herring, right? Even though, yes, he is the villain, he's not really the villain, right? And even though, yes, some people would say, well, he's not all that developed and he's not a great character, I still think using him as a pawn, as a way to make the player feel like, oh, he's going to be the one who is going to screw you over, or he's going to be the one who's going to attack you, and you do fight him depending on your choice. But there's a part that I really liked, right, where when you go into that party, right, the club, I guess, and you're with Solomon and you have to interrogate the French twins. And that scene where he lets you go, that really kind of shows you his character, right? Where you're kind of like, oh shit, you think he's gonna kill you right there, right? You think he's gonna actually, do the typical villain stuff that we expect from that type of, because it's this big bulky guy, right? He looks kind of like a scary military dude. So you expect, oh, he's just gonna go crazy, right? But no, he's very methodical and he's very careful with what he does. Even though again he's not really relevant, he's not really playing this game of chess, but yet he thinks he is. So that's why, even though again, as I keep saying, he's not a super complex character, I think the way that he was framed in the story was complex enough for the player to kind of guess and play that sort of mystery game of, okay, is this guy really involved with all of this? But it turns out not really. He's not really involved all that much. But yeah, I guess, is there anything else you guys want to mention before we get into spoilers? You guys can have the floor.
Besides not, I mean, there's somebody in the game that there were in the base game, and that there were a character that that wasn't in the base main quest, but they weren't like a big character, and they appear in this DLC, and they have a bigger influence in this game's, I guess, even in Dogtown and what goes on.
Oh, you can say the character's name.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, Mr. Hands is he was a gig, one of your fixers, right, in the base game, and you only do one quest for him, I believe. If you do a gig for him, there's only one gig that you do for him in the base game, and he never shows up again. He helps you up in the main quest finding the voodoo boys, but besides that, he's not really involved that much. But here he has a way. Dogtown is really his play, and I know that you were saying that Mr. Kurt Hansen was playing chess, or that's what he thinks. There's this whole thing where it's like one character is playing checkers and the other's playing chess. It's like, yes, Kurt Hansen is playing checkers and Mr. Hansen is playing chess.
Yes, it's all these characters are. Yeah, it's like Mr. Hands. I'll talk about that too, because I guess it's not spoilers, but I'm not sure how many gigs you did, RJ, or not RJ. Oh my God, I'm sorry, Blue Jay. Oh, I'm seeing RJ. Oh man, I'm sorry, Blue Jay, man. I'm looking at RJ's comment and the J's, man, the two J's. Anyway, but I'm not sure how many gigs you played, or the side quests in particular.
In the base game, I did all the gigs and side quests.
Right.
So basically, I did the whole game right before Phantom Liberty dropped.
Okay. Did you and for the gigs in the DLC?
I think I did all the gigs for I did all the gigs for that. I haven't done a side quest yet. So okay. I'm mostly I just did the main stuff.
You just did the main stuff. Okay. Because the gigs, there may be I'm trying to think. There is some side quests. There's actually an important side quest with Mr. Hands once you finish all the gigs. So I definitely would recommend that, because there's some choices you can make in that quest. But no, the gigs, I was telling Monkey, because I finished all the gigs. The gigs I did feel like were better than the base game, and that might just because I was paying attention to them more.
You're right. They were definitely better. They got a big upgrade. Definitely the gigs.
Yeah, because the gigs, even in the base game, I was telling you about. There's actually one that they added in that was probably the better ones, because it involves a gig where you got to save a guy, and then the next gig is that you actually might have to kill that guy's brother, right? And if you don't know if it's his brother, right? The character that you save is called Tiny Mike, and then his brother's like Big Mike or something. It's weird, something like that. But if you don't save his brother, then that guy gets pissed off, right? But you have to actually do some finessing. Like, you actually have to talk to him and sort of like read a lot of these shards that you find to actually know, oh shit, you're actually saving this guy's brother, right? So there's a lot of quests like that in the DLC where it's more of a dilemma that you're put into, and you have to sort of pick and choose what your decision you're going to make. So for example, and this is not a big spoiler because this is not significant to the main story. It's just a little tiny story. There's a gig where you have to kill this voodoo boys member who's like a net runner, right? And you're tasked with going in and pretty much shooting up the place, killing everybody there, and then you have to actually get through his security defense, which is a bunch of robots, right? And once you do that, you actually meet the guy, but he's actually with a Netwatch agent who's posing as a Voodoo Boys member who's actually trying to get into the group and sort of take them down, right? So now you're tasked with, okay, do I let this Netwatch dude pretty much do his job, right? And risk not getting my money for doing the gig, or do I just kill both of them, right? So a lot of the gigs in this DLC are like that, where you have to pick and choose what you're going to do, right? And sometimes the option you may think is actually good, but it turns out no, there's actually a consequence to them, right? There's one gig, I think it bleeds into a side quest, and maybe a side quest, but they actually send someone like sort of like a net runner or like sort of an assassin after you. And yeah, it's really interesting what they do with the gigs, even though they're not super story driven. I would recommend them, right, if you've kind of discarded them, right? So yeah, the side quests, the gigs,
Yeah, there's one thing I like to say with gigs, that it's like
Right.
they actually feel like they have the same theme almost as the DLC's main quest, because of what they offer in terms of, like, let's say, dilemmas. And
right.
really kind of reminds me of The Witcher, because every quest in that game felt like a dilemma almost.
Mhm.
So it does have you thinking a bit more about your choices when you're doing gigs, and I feel like that was definitely an upgrade, where it's not like you do a gig and you got to go download some malware and you got to run away. There's actual dilemmas, and you're thinking about stuff, and there might be different conclusions, and sometimes choices are just abruptly just shoved in your face, and you have to make a decision now, and you don't know what to choose, and you choose something, you go with it, and it really makes you just it really heightens up the gig, and really gets you thinking, and almost just in terms of writing, in terms of it's not a simple ABC. It's not like you go to A, go to B, go to C. It's more like you go to A, but like now you have to pick whether you want to go to B or you want to go to D. So like it just really makes you think about your choices, and makes you think about what's right or wrong. And I think that's what the gigs offer, and they're much better in the DLC than the at least so far from what the base stuff that I've done. I know you guys did all of them. I haven't done all the gigs in the main game. I am trying to do them now, but I haven't done them. But in the DLC, I did all the gigs, and I mean, so far they're way better in terms of quality than the main game. So good
Yeah,
job on the gigs.
I pretty much did the gigs because there's a couple of trophies you could do. I didn't do some of the main story related ones. Like I only made my choice and then that was it. I didn't even do the alternative ending to the game, which we'll get into. But yeah, I guess for the non-spoilers, I guess we'll leave it off there. There is the relic skills that are added into the game. I didn't really use them that much. I think the only one that I used was, I think it was the one on the right hand side. I forget what it does now. Actually,
is that the cloaking the one?
Not the cloaking.
Oh, you mean the weak point?
The weak point one. There we go. Yeah,
that one's really useful. If anyone plays the game, I'd say get that first. Holy crap!
That was the only one that really impacted my gameplay, because this account that you're seeing right now, I had this this was a maxed out character, right? And I just had to respec it because of the update. But besides all of that, that was really the only relic perk that I used that was super useful. And yeah, I would recommend it for those who haven't played the DLC yet. But yeah, so now I'm gonna dive into spoilers, particularly with the main story. So just to recap, so everybody's on the same page, the main story is really about Solomon Reed and Songbird, right? and your allegiance to the new United States of America, whatever they're called. And so the story is about UV obviously are tasked with trying to find out why Songbird went missing, and it turns out that Songbird, she is sort of like a weapon of mass destruction that the American government is using, right? And it's very complex where she's sort of like an AI, but not really. Like she's able to sort of use the power of the Black Wall, which is again, this is another thing. If you haven't played the base game, you may not really completely understand what the Black Wall is and its whole use, right? Um, Man, this is going to be a headache to unravel because there's a lot of stuff. But the Black Wall is essentially a AI posing as sort of like a firewall that is keeping a lot of rogue AIs and what is considered the old net, and that's a whole nother story I won't get into. But it's essentially a living firewall that Songbird is able to tap into and use her powers. Right, she kind of has these powers, right? Um, and so she has a physical form and she has a digital form, which kind of takes on the form of like Johnny, which is why she's able to connect with your engram. Now, she has her own plans of essentially, getting rid of the new United States and sort of being let free so she's no longer a weapon, right? But the problem is Solomon, who's sort of, you know, it's hard to describe their relationship, right? Because you could see them as co-workers, as partners, but Solomon Reed was the one who recruited um, Songbird into the new, their what is the agency called? Is it called the FIA?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he recruits her into the FIA, and he's a sleeper agent, and they already have a long history, right? And this history, it's sort of explained to you. It's a lot of exposition. They don't really show it. However, this backstory is in one of the trailers where you actually see Solomon Reed get taken down by Songbird, who sends in sort of these like in the game they say they're Arasaka agents, but in the trailer they're just like they look like mercs, right? To basically come in and shoot him up and frame him to look like he was a covert Arasaka agent that sort of double crossed the American government, right? And so he's been put on ice for this entire time in the game, and he's coming back to help Songbird, but it's not really clear, right? And this is where the dilemma starts to come in, right? Because Solomon, who is pretty much, he's been wronged by the government, but yet he has this strange allegiance to it, right? Which is really weird, right? You get shot up, they throw you under the bus, you're basically left for dead, and you come back anyway. Really bizarre, right? And this is why we're talking about the complexity with these characters. And Solomon, he cares about Songbird, but he's also doing this because this is his job, right? And so there's that, and they talk about this in the DLC where it's like, are these people my coworkers? Were spies, but are they my friends? Do I care about these people? And so, well, what do you guys think about that? Those two characters and their dynamic. Is it a relationship? Like, are they friends? Are they not friends? How do you guys see that?
Yeah. It's so hard to tell though, because I mean, with Reed, I'm like, their mission is to save Songbird, but it's almost like it's like the way that Idris Elba's performance is, and he does a great job, by the way. He does a really great job. But because his demeanor is like, when it comes to Reed's demeanor, is almost like, I don't give a shit about Songbird, but we gotta save her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and then sometimes and it's the other way around. Just like I don't. It's an interesting thing because it kind of puts me in like a weird position where like, okay, what am I gonna do? What do I do? It's like we gotta save Songbird, but is it the right thing to do? Because you don't, because I've always had like, is Songbird like the bad guy? Like, do I trust her? But I still do. I trust her a lot. It's I don't know.
Yeah, there's that theme of trust,
Sorry.
because at the end of the choice that you make, he's gonna come back anyway. But at the ending of not the ending, but there's a mission where you have to actually make a very critical choice involving Songbird or Solomon and your allegiance to them, right? So it's like, and so far the DLC, because it's not very long, right? And a lot of that time is spent with your kind of developing that relationship with Solomon and Songbird, right? And Songbird tells you quite a lot about her backstory, right? About like how she's this sort of like crazy net runner that people don't know, but yet in order to be that net runner, she had to start at a young age, and her life was kind of ruined in that sense, right? Where it's like she was working for Netwatch, and then Solomon Reed comes in and recruits her to the FIA, right? And so, or the FIA, whatever it's called. My apologies, but
I think you're right. FIA.
yeah, some of the names I get mixed up on.
A lot of names.
Yeah, there's a lot of names, but it's really interesting that, and we were saying that with the gigs, where it's like this whole DLC is about what's the cost of freedom, right? Can you trust people, right? And at the end of the day, the game makes this stance that even the people who open up to you and tell you all this stuff about their life, you can't really trust them, right? And it's really weird. It's such a weird theme to leave on for the player, because you're like, oh, you can't trust people, or you should trust people, or it shouldn't matter, right? It shouldn't matter if someone is hiding something from you, right? As long as you're helping them or making sure that you're doing the best of your abilities, then it's okay. It's very complex, right? Where it's like, well, there's no it's not black and white, right? So yeah.
Exactly, because like when the scene, which the scene you were talking about, when Songbird tells everything, like I think, what was it, like the scene where we're like at that rubble area where she looks out the city at Dogtown, and then Songbird's like talking about her backstory and stuff. And at first I was like, oh, okay, she's telling me everything about her, and then there's parts like, like, why is she telling me all of this? And then it's just almost like the game is kind of framing the fact like it's almost there's a thing in my brain thinking like, there's gonna be a twist in this thing, isn't there? Right? Like it's gonna be a twist villain, but they're making me trust her a lot, so it puts me in a very difficult position right now. And I like Reed, because Reed's a cool character, and I'm like, gosh, it just puts me in that. It's like Life is Strange. Like I played Life is Strange. They make some choices where I just had to think for like 10 minutes before I do anything, because there's gonna be some big consequences going on.
Yeah, that's how you feel. But like the way I saw Reed was more of a character that he's kind of arrogant. Like he thinks that he knows what's best for you than what he really knows. It's like he kind of pushes that thing like, oh, I know what you want, and I can get you that. And it's like, it's how he sees Songbird, because the ending that I got, there's some stuff that you see about how Reed met Songbird, and then you get the way he sees it. It's like, oh, I'm giving you what you really want, and so and she's more reluctant to do the things, like become that big time hacker, whatever she is. She's a cyber runner, or what do you call it, net runner.
Yeah.
And so she ends up being basically probably the most dangerous nut runner because of Reed, but she never wanted to be that. But he kind of threatens her and tells her that, hey, what about your friends and your family? Almost like hint, something might happen to these people that you care about. And so he did threaten her, right, to become to join the FIA.
Right.
And it's almost like he thinks that he knows what other people need, and I felt like throughout the DLC he felt like there was some regret, right, that like what he did to Somi, and he felt like he knows what's best for her to help her, and
Mhm.
he tells you, the character, we have to do it this way, and Somi needs help, and Somi blah blah, all this stuff, and I'm thinking, okay, he maybe is someone who is care. I felt not like a coworker, but I felt like almost like he was more of a fatherly figure to Somi, because how much older he is than Somi, and he kind of brought her into this life,
Mhm.
and he knows what that life did to her, and he does feel regret, and so he wants you to help her, but it's like his help may not be the best thing for her, but he assumes it is because he thinks that he knows what's right. And even the ending that you get with the choice that you make, if you choose him, it's the same way. He does something to you, or he gets you, something happens to you with his help because he felt or he thought that this was the best. It's like almost like, hey, I want this, and he gives it to you, but he doesn't understand what you really want. And even though he gives it to you, it's not what you really want. It's how he saw Soulmate, where she wanted something, he gave it to her, and it's not what she wanted.
Mhm.
And it's like he never really understands people, right? And he feels like he does. And I feel like I like him as a character, and that's why it's so hard, because like I don't trust him, because I don't think he even knows like what he wants, because he's a very confusing character. Because when I first played the DLC and I was playing through the story, I felt that Solomon was almost going to be like a choice where you help Somi with Solomon, but he has his own plan and his own agenda where he wants to help her, but is in his own way, where he would go against the NUSA, but ends up just lying with the NUSA. And I felt like I kind of felt bad for choosing Solomon, to be honest. And I felt like it kind of goes with the dilemma where, are you going to choose something selfless and get nothing, or choose something selfish and get something but not what you really want? And I felt like
Right.
that's kind of how Solomon and Soulmate are. It's like you get what you want, but not really, right? And so Somi wants to be a net runner. She doesn't get what she wants. She ends up being a net runner, the most dangerous net runner, but it's not what she wants.
Mhm.
So does Solomon, and so it's like, I don't know, it pits you a lot with a lot of characters. It's so complex with how these characters play with each other, and I like you said, you don't really trust anybody. Even when they open up to you, you're like, Jesus Christ, I thought I could trust you. Then you do this to me, or you do this to
Right.
somebody,
Or they
I never
open up to you because it's
betrayed.
almost it's a trick, right? It's a form of manipulation, right? And that's what Songbird does, and that's what in that scene that Blue Jay was talking about, where she's talking, you go to that place in Dogtown, and she's sort of telling you about Brooklyn and all those stuff like that. Like that was not really her being honest. That was her trying to manipulate you, right? And it's like, I get it. Hold on, my apologies. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good. You're good.
Like it's the groceries came or something. Used to like about getting groceries, and then they finally came. And then he's gonna start cooking. He's gonna start cooking during the chat.
Oh my god.
Man's gonna fry some like eggs or something. He's gonna start cooking a chicken. He's gonna start
Yeah, we
putting
hear
that.
something sizzling in the background.
Are you gonna hear? Yeah, you hear that? Yes. As I was saying, I show me. He's cracking eggs. You're like, what the heck is going on back there, buddy?
You need some egg sandwich.
Yeah, he's grumpy. He's drinking. He's making that weird, disgusting slurping sound. You're like, bruh.
Yeah, and then
Oh,
all of a sudden he just
complexity.
burps.
He's burping. It's just like he's like Solomon Reed. It's like, bro, Jesus Christ. It's like, oh, can already see it.
So yeah, well, I mean, let me tell you this: the fight with the Chimera was obnoxious.
Oh yeah, that fight. I thought that fight was I mean, I thought it was a good fight. I played it on hard, so like it was kind of annoying to be honest, but it wasn't that bad. I felt. But the fight that I felt was fucking annoying. Was Kurt Hansen.
Oh,
My God, Kurt's an asshole. I hate that guy because it's like when he throws his knife and he's chasing you. Oh, I think you did the same ending that I did, right? I think you chose Solomon.
Or betray Songbird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I chose Solomon, and yeah, I think you can only fight Kurt if you choose Solomon. And that fight on hard, it's like pretty like tough because like once he goes into melee mode, you just got to run away, right? So that's what I had to do.
All right, I'm back. I apologize for that. The order came way too late. I don't know why.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
I told Blue Jay the same thing. I said his groceries are here.
Yeah, that's what happened.
It's about to start cooking.
Yeah, but what were you guys talking about? Sorry about that.
We're talking about your cooking. How terrible your cooking is.
Man.
Well, no, we were talking about some of the boss fights, like the Chimera fight was kind of annoying.
Yeah, this is the one that's on screen right now.
Yeah, the worst fight was with Kurt Hansen, and let me tell you it was kind of a mess up on my part because, so when I play Cyberpunk, I do my little role playing stuff, like. Judy was my girlfriend. I go in there and say, Judy, baby, hello. and we go into bed, sleep with her and stuff, put on my outfit. I was a dumbass when I came in. So like literally the next day, wake up with Judy in the bed, put on the outfit. Oh, when I was fighting with Kurt Hansen, I forgot to put armor on. And I was like,
oh man.
See, I forgot to put armor on because I had the outfit because like the outfit stuff that goes over the shit and all that.
Yeah, they changed
this
it.
This is why I dislike games that has this type of stuff. I want to look stylish. I don't want to look like a freaking moron. I want to look crazy. So I had the plain white tee and the white shorts that I go to bed with. I'm like, I was like, I forgot I had that shit on. I forgot to put it on, so I just put my outfit on. That's it. And then that's why I was just getting destroyed by Kurt Hansen all the time. I was like,
Did you tweak the because they changed it right from the in the previous update, right? Or
build.
Whatever they call it. Yeah.
Different build.
Yeah, the different build of the game was that you would have to have the clothes on to have
the ugliest clothes on.
Yeah,
the absolute ugliest thing you could put on.
Well, they updated it. They changed it.
Yeah, they changed it now. Your cybernetics or your armor.
No. Well, they changed it. First, it was whatever you were wearing that was your armor, right? Then they changed it where you can actually put a skin over the crappy looking stuff, right? So it was like a patchwork, and then they changed
that was
it again.
Too, though.
Yeah,
but the transmog. I actually don't even use it because it's actually annoying. You have to have wardrobes.
Yeah,
you have to make wardrobes, and it's like only 5 of them, right? And I'm like, I don't really care about this.
Once I got the Johnny outfits, on all that stuff, that's pretty much what I stay in the game. Like that's how I want to look like.
Yeah, because I'm all about style. I'm a customization freak because I like customizing stuff. I like to be creative and stuff. So I want to have, like good looking outfits and all that stuff. But I don't want to see like for this. I'm not a fan of games you need to have like the wackiest of armor just to get the best like an orange like a hat with the orange mark on it, like a legendary whatever to get like the best armor possible or the best health or whatever. Like I don't want to look goofy looking. I want to look.
That was the problem with the previous.
Imagine you go on a date with Judy, and you have like just
look like a pimp instead of a,
look like a freaking maniac. I'm like, what kind of got no drip whatsoever?
No drip, which is it's true.
I don't really customize my character. That's the thing, because it's like I don't mind going into stores and looking at what they have, but it's kind of like I end up not doing it, right? Because I'm so focused on the actual, the gigs and the side quests and things like that.
That's
So
true.
yeah, but this boss, I mean, like, I agree that this boss was a little bit hard, but the only reason why it was hard is because I didn't know where to aim. It doesn't really tell you where to
Oh,
aim.
you have to aim its weak points
Yeah,
first.
but you don't know where its weak points are. That's the
Oh,
thing.
yeah,
Well,
I
they
think
show.
you can
They,
you can.
I figured it out just by shooting at it, but yeah, I
No,
didn't
it
know.
does
Yeah.
show you though. I'm not sure
well,
if you
they
have to use
sh-
your cyber thing or something, but I remember it showed me
well,
the yellow spots, and I
they
Maybe
shot
it
showed
at the
did
like
if
a
yellow.
because
split
I didn't
second.
have the upgrade yet. If you don't have the
Oh,
upgrade, that's probably what happens. You won't see it. It's
I
really
didn't.
hard to
Yeah,
know
I
what
didn't
it
have
is.
the upgrades because I was getting really frustrated because I think my weapons weren't the best because I think
Right.
I have all legendary weapons, but like I got like what was the one precision rifle that kind of shoots
oh,
one sniper.
are you talking about the okay? Are you talking about the Achilles or talking about the Tuckim
I
I
think
know
Tucking
none of
Takemura?
the
was.
guns in this game.
There's a gun called
Whatever
the
is
it's an energy gun where if you hold
okay.
it down, it's like a tech weapon, and you hold it down, it does a bigger shot. Um, I'm not sure if she's talking about that one or she's talking about a different one, but
Right.
are you talking about
It's
precision or are you talking about
it
like
was the one gun that has a very powerful impact on like a very powerful impact.
do
I
you have to
used
hold
that
it?
to kind of I don't remember. It was a one powerful gun, but I did like take one of the turrets off to kind of just like just rain on this thing because really when it gets to the turret mode, the lasers aren't annoying. The lasers are a bit obnoxious, but turrets really were getting me right now. Like
Mhm.
I almost like I died like three times, and I was really getting frustrated. But I managed to get through it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I didn't
fight
die at this part at all, but it did take me a
yeah.
bit. The dodge, they definitely improved the dodge because the dodge was annoying as hell in the previous
Yeah.
update, right? Or the other build of the game. It was really bad. And I never used it. Here it came in handy, and so
Mhm.
you'll see me in this, just kind of like moving around dodging anytime he starts throwing missiles or that laser beam.
Okay, yeah, the
Um,
missiles,
yeah,
that dude, I have no fucking clue. Like you dodge them, but you don't dodge them, because they'll still
yeah,
hit you. I never know how to stop those missiles. Every time I can dodge the laser thing that he shoots that goes on in a spinning mode, but
right.
the missiles, those motherfuckers, I don't know. He shoots them and I dodge them, but I can't. You still get hit. I was like, what the fuck? I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah,
You just get
and
hit by
and
those.
this is I'm trying to remember. I think this is the only boss, the big boss for me. I mean, there's because I didn't make the decision like you guys, so I never actually faced Somi or Kurt Hansen. I sided with Songbird or Somi, right? She has so many different names, but I sided with her. Which there's not a boss that you go through, but what you end up doing is you go to the it's kind of like an airport, like a space airport, and essentially what happens is the new USA comes in and they're looking for you, and so there's just this wave of enemies that come at you that you have to like take down, and then eventually you actually get the powers of the black wall, and so there's a segment where you have to like carry so me and use the black wall powers and kill a bunch of these soldiers. And so yeah, that was my choice, and I did want to talk about this because my perspective on Solomon was that I thought Solomon was a pathetic kind of character, not in the sense that he is not well written. I'm not saying he is a well written character. Personally, his philosophy and what was done to him, I just find it very pathetic, right? That this guy is essentially still working on behalf of a government that essentially killed him, right? Even though he's not dead, he really did die, right? He was supposed to really die, right? And that's how I saw it, where it's like, yeah, they set him up, they threw this cover story, and they threw him under the bus. They ruined his legacy, right? And when you do save Songbird, right, you actually see that President Myers berates Solomon like pretty badly, right? Like saying that he was always going to fail. He always fails at this job and stuff like that. So she has no real respect for Solomon, right? Um, and which sucks, right? But that's how I saw it too. I thought he was very pathetic. I don't know why he came back. He didn't need to come back, and because in all honesty, I don't think he really cared about Songbird. Right? Personally, I thought, especially when you get to the ending, that where you have to make that decision, where you see him and Alex, and we didn't really even talk about Alex, who I also feel kind of bad for her, and I know Monkey was saying no, they're kind of on the same level, but Alex to me was someone who, like, yeah, she was done dirty too, but you get to spend a lot more time understanding, like, hey, like, she didn't really want this life. She actually has an ideal life in her mind. While Solomon, this is his ideal life, right? Like, this is what he wants, right? He doesn't say it explicitly, but it's like he's living that life. That's why he came back, because in all honesty, this is his life, right? So he's still alive. He's still gonna be a sleeper agent, but it's like, why couldn't he put two and two together and realize that they didn't care about him, right? They're gonna throw him under the bus. And so my decision at the ending was, I just shot him. I killed him, because I was like, you know what? Songbird is actually being used as a tool, as a weapon, and you're not a weapon, you're not a tool, but they still use you, right? To Solomon, right? They use him, but he's not a weapon. He's not important. He could be anybody, right? But he feels like he's important, right? So that was my big problem with the character and why I didn't want to side with him. And also, he's not really trustworthy, right? Like, he didn't need to kill those French twins. They were, sure, they were on the opposite side, but like, you didn't need to kill them like that, right? That was so unnecessary, right?
I'm sorry, but I was going to interrupt you for just like, it's just
okay.
how quickly his response is, what do you expect me to tie them up? And they tell somebody and shit. It's like, he's so quick in that response that, like, he has an answer for everything, right? Like he's done this before and he doesn't really care. And that's what almost made me not choose his side. That thing was the one where I was like, I don't know if I want to choose him anymore.
Right.
But it ended up still choosing him. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I didn't personally really like it. And I was like, listen, I didn't like that Somi lies to you. This is a spoiler, obviously, if you didn't do the Solomon, or if you decided to go with Solomon, you don't know this, right? But Songbird lies to you about the cure, which I think most of us could put two and two together and realize that was going to happen, because it just seemed too good to be true, right? Okay, she's going to have a cure for herself, and then also she's going to have a cure for you too. So I wasn't buying that even from the jump, right? That sounds too good to be true. And she doesn't even, like, they know who you are, but they don't really know your whole situation, right? They don't even really care that Johnny is the one that's in your head. They don't even really care about that. They're just like, oh yeah, you have the relic in your head. We can help you, right? And if you notice too, like, a lot of the characters that you meet in the game, they get to know you, V, right? But I feel like both Solomon and Songbird don't really get to know V very well, right? It seems like V is really there to listen to their problems instead of it being an actual conversation between two people, right? Like, who is V, right? I personally felt like Songbird didn't really get to do that, but yet I still felt bad for her, right? Even though I disagree with the way that she did all these things, I still felt bad for her, right? And that's only because she was being used. She was being used and pretty much abused, and she really needs to be let go from all of this chaos, right? Because this whole thing, and we'll get into that, but this DLC, I think, really sets the stage for what is to come, right? Because even though it's a very intimate story between two characters, Songbird is being tied to something that is going to be, is going to play out for decades, right? This whole idea about the Black Wall and whether or not the new America can use it for their own for their whatever projects they have, right? Or Militech can use it, or Arasaka. All these companies want whatever's beyond that Black Wall because it's so important, but yet it's very dangerous, right? So, I felt like she needed that chance at, this is gonna you saving her in Solomon's ending, right, and giving her up to the government. Like, honestly, that's not gonna help her. That's not gonna do anything,
Yeah.
right? Like,
That's
it's just
why,
gonna.
yeah.
Yeah, go. Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, that's why I told you that I regretted picking Solomon, because there's two choices technically when you pick Solomon's thing, right? You can either
Right.
let her die or save her. And I let her die. No, sorry, I saved her. Sorry, my bad. I saved her, and I felt like it would have been better just to let her die, because holy shit, she's just another tool for the rest of her life. Now she's stuck. Now she can't even escape. I don't even think she can escape anymore. So that's why I feel
they're gonna have
terrible.
her under lock and key.
Yeah, now they're gonna trap her, and I felt like I really I kind of regret picking that, because even though you don't get what you want, I mean, you don't get what you want either or, really, as V, as the character, but really you feel like I still feel sympathetic for her. Like, I still feel bad for her, because she is a tool, and it's like, at least she's a tool that realizes she's a tool and wants to get out, where it's like Solomon, he knows he's a tool, but he's like, yeah, I am a tool. That's my life. I'm a wrench, that the builder uses to build. It's like,
but he's a useless tool. That's the problem. That's the thing he doesn't get.
No, I mean, if you technically choose, well, technically he is useful, right? Because
he's a useful idiot. That's what he is.
Yeah, he's useful because he's a patriot, you can say, or he's so blinded by his patriotism that he doesn't realize he's being used by the government. The government doesn't care about him. The president doesn't care about him. No, like, they don't care about him. You're just a tool to be used to get what they want. And again, the tool, it's so funny because the tool thinks it knows what's best for everybody. It's like, no, you don't. You're just a tool. You're just and even if you choose that ending and V talks to him at the basketball court as an epilogue, whatever, and she says, what the fuck? She's like, why are you still choosing the NUSA, right? He goes, that's what I got to do. That's the job. And you just face palm. You're like, oh my god, you're fucked. You're right. Like, I mean, he still gets his, you can say, happy ending, right? Because he gets to just be a guy that teaches other agents, right? At the end, right? He ends up being just a trainer. End of his story. He gets a better conclusion, I guess, for him, if he wants to be a tool, because V's like, I don't want to be, working for the NUSA, and I rather go back and look for the Ripper Doc, and I rather, find a way to use my cybernetics, and she can, and you get that ending that's really like, I don't know if it's really a bad ending, but it's just like,
well, we should get into that. Blue Jay, did you do the new ending, or did you just?
Yeah, I did the new ending. So so what I did was, I did I did save Songbird. I just kind of, I did listen to your points. I did it from like I kind of viewed this whole thing from a moral perspective, kind of like, the black wall is kind of controlling her and she can't do anything. And, I do see what you guys are coming from. I just kind of was thinking, like, I think she kind of deserves a second chance in life or whatever. But so I did save her. I did keep her alive, and I was kind of just thinking from a very optimistic perspective. But I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of an interesting point. And then
we had a cynical kind of view on it, but that's what I'm saying. We all have different perspectives. That's why.
Yeah.
No, I get what Blue Jay's saying, because I was sympathetic and I was optimistic. That's why I chose Solomon, because I thought, oh, she's like, what she can do on her own, she might fuck up, because she has the black wall. She's still sick, right? And I felt like on her own she's gonna do more damage. So that's why I chose Solomon, because I was like, it's like the better evil, or the better whatever that line is. Say the lesser,
the necessary
evil, or whatever that, And so that's why I chose Solomon. And I get what Blue Jay's saying. It's like you're optimistic, and you're like, ooh, shit, maybe I
Yeah,
shouldn't be
that's-
optimistic because damn.
Mm.
Well, maybe I was a little too optimistic.
It's too optimistic. I forgot I was playing Cyberpunk.
No,
Oh, I forgot.
Mostly because I was like, okay, I was thinking like, well, there's the cure. See, I'm gonna see. Here's me being underestimating again. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this cure. You don't have to deal with all this stuff no more. And then I didn't realize, oh shoot, I'm getting rid of Johnny.
Yeah, you got rid of a lot of people from because I didn't want to do that ending. So I didn't do anything right.
See,
I was for the ending that I got, which was the Pan Am ending. So yeah.
See, I love Johnny, I love Keanu Reeves and all that stuff. And I didn't really think much of that. I was kind of thinking like, well, her V's happy ending. Well, mine's she. Her happy ending could be like, well, she's cured and she can finally just live on with her life. And look, let me also say this: I do everything in my power to not my romance with Judy. Judy's my favorite character, one of my favorite characters, and literally, there are times whenever Songbird and V would talk, it looked like my brain was thinking like, are they gonna maybe romance Songbird for some reason? Because the way some scenes played out, like the part where Songbird talked about her feeling, her backstory and all that stuff. There was a part where she puts her hand out and holding these hands like, I'm already taken.
Yeah, I thought the character I thought you could romance was Alex. Because I was a guy, and so you could dance with her. I'm not sure if you probably do that as
you dance with her.
I did that too. I was like,
yeah, there was a pause. Yeah, and she's like, oh, you know what I think she says, you know what you're doing, or you've done this before. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, it's like, what the fuck? And then she leaves, and I'm like, well, I got cockblocked.
There were three other times. So it was Songbird that kind of just went and kind of just placed her hands on, like holding, like putting her hands on V's hand and stuff. There was a part in the Black Sapphire where one of the French, one of the French siblings, the lady was kind of just,
she was very flirty and stuff. Yeah.
Very flirty. I was like,
she was horny for Kurt Hansen. She was.
Yeah, that was crazy. I didn't even.
You want to fuck Kurt Hansen so bad, dude. She was dead on gonna fuck it. Oh my god.
Because you guys have to pretend to be her, while I had to pretend to be the brother. Yeah.
Right, but it was weird because like it was weird when I was playing poker with those twins, and she kind of just walked up to me and she kind of just stroking my hands like, can there be a dialogue choice to say that I'm taken?
Yeah, they should have done that. That's like my biggest gripe with the game. Even the base game, there's characters who I feel like they should have been romance options, just to make things a little bit more complex. But
actually, I don't know, because you're talking about romance options. In my playthrough, I told this to Blinded, and he was like, you're a fucking asshole. But like, I had Pan Am, right? But I fucking cheated on Pan Am with every fucking person I could. I fucked prostitutes, the Joy Toys.
This is on your other account, right?
Yeah, in my other. Yeah, this is on my Xbox because I got on PS5 too. So on the Xbox, I told Pan Am I love her, and we're a couple, and but I cheated on her with Joy Toys. I fucked Carrie, and I didn't fuck River, but I feel like I should have. But I did cheat on her like 3 times, I think. On Pan Am. I don't think there's any consequence because she doesn't mention it. So I don't know.
There's no consequence, which is weird because Starfield actually has consequences for that.
Even The Witcher had consequences if you cheated. Yeah. So
a bit of a bummer, but yeah.
That's the thing. Like I was like, one more thing. Like I tried everything in my power to not try to romance anybody because it was right after in the base game when I romanced Judy. It was River. I had to romance River. I was like, what do I say? I don't want to be a dick about it because it's just gonna say that I'm taken. That's it. But I was like, I don't want to be like a dick about it, but it's whatever.
I was like, it's Night City, bro. Let's get crazy. Yo,
Oh
Gary,
man.
Gary did. He gave me that
I just
double
want to be a
slam. He
nice.
gave me a
I want to be a nice person in Night City. I want to be the nice one in the bunch. Okay,
Oh man.
but
I try to
was
play
the
it
opposite.
kind of. Yeah, I mean, I don't do that in the visit the prostitutes. I mean, there's
I
no.
did. I had to. You
Nah,
have
I
to,
couldn't
bro.
do it.
When you go to what's that? What's it called? It's got what's that place called? Jiggy some shit. Jiggy Street,
Jiggy Street, yeah.
Jig Street, Jig something like
Street.
that. That entire place where you find that Ripper doc that's a creep. He's a fucking pervert. That
Yeah, which
balding
they
man that
they
you kill.
changed they patched that because that was annoying in the base game.
You
Because
could
he
kill
has
him.
the hover. Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah,
I
you could
did
kill him. I fucking killed him, and I don't think he's in the game anymore. I killed him because I was like, "You're such a pervert. Like, you're an actual rapist, dude. I don't deal.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
because
gonna kill you."
he's the only so just to explain this in the original build of the game, there's a Ripper doc that is a part of the main story that sold off. What's her name? Do you remember that character's name?
Evelyn, yeah,
died.
she got
Evelyn.
sold off. Evelyn,
Yeah,
man, he
yeah,
did some stuff to her.
right. But if you beat him up later in the game, if you come back to him, he's not going to sell you. You
The
know,
best cybernetics
yeah.
apparently that were in the base game, but
Yeah,
I
one
didn't
of
even.
them was the hover. You can actually like hover.
Yeah,
It's like
do they
Iron
still
Man.
have that?
Yeah, I think
I
they
don't
still
even. I
do
don't know.
have that.
They do?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
Because in my first playthrough, I didn't punch him. I just was like interrogating him because I felt like I'm trying to be more like professional.
Right.
You know, you want to get the answers. You don't want to damage the person that you're trying to get the answers from.
Mhm.
So I didn't punch him or anything. But in my second playthrough, I was like, this guy's a pervert. This guy is an actual menace on the streets. He needs to be put down. So I beat him up
Right.
and then I killed him. That felt very good. Fuck that guy.
That's
Fuck
crazy.
that guy. He's a piece of shit.
So-
He deserved it.
yeah. I want to. So the end. So I'm gonna go back to the ending. So the ending that I choose. So yeah, I went with the cure because my dumbass didn't think much of it. I was like, I'm gonna get this cure because I don't have to worry about those little relic episodes where all the little blue lights go on. He goes, oh shit, not good. I'm like, I don't want to. Those can get kind of annoying sometimes where I'm just hearing that raw. Like I'm trying to play the game sometimes, and those get really obnoxious. And because like
that reaction was so accurate, the way you said it too. Ah shit! Hey, we go again.
Yeah,
You
because
fucking
it
cried.
makes those noises on my controller speaker, and it can get really obnoxious because I'm trying to play through the game. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this cure. I didn't know it was gonna last like result to a 2-year coma.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that.
was-
Yeah, yeah. I didn't really like that ending. I mean, I get it. It's in line with the theme of the DLC, at like what cost, right? The cost of freedom. But
Well, it
I
costs
mean,
to be
like,
alive, right?
well, yeah, it's
Sure.
V's freedom, right? Their freedom, because you lose so many people in the process, and then on top of that too, the one thing that you were good at, which was being a merc, you can't be a merc anymore, right? So it is very depressing. And then also too, you see Vic and what happened to him and what's her name? I forget. Jackie's girlfriend. I forget her name. But
what was it? Misty.
Misty. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and she looks totally different. But yeah, and you see everybody. I was kind of like upset that they didn't even put Pan Am, because I still like Pan Am, but like, why did they? I get it. It still doesn't even make sense to me. Like, I get it. Like, they went off. They probably forgot about V, but it's still really depressing. Where it's like, yeah, all these people who you developed,
They moved on.
Yeah, they moved on. They had their own lives, and it's like, damn. And you're kind of left.
The first thing, like when Reed comes in, and he said he just kind of the suspense was killing me. He's like, oh, there's one more thing, and he just sits down a bit so slowly. Like, can you just say it? Is it the spirit is killing me? And he said it was on to it. It's 2079. It's like, fuck no. And then literally it gives you an option to call someone, and I immediately called Judy, and I was pissed off.
Yeah, because she's married.
She's married. Wait, you're in Pittsburgh and you are married. I'm like, come on. I was like,
Yeah.
no. Right after that, like really right after I beat the game, I load game, go back in time. I would never do that ever again.
Yeah, I couldn't. I looked it up and I saw it, and I was just like, yeah, I would never. My V would never do something like that because I still like Johnny, right? I would be like, you know
that's
what?
the key thing about that I didn't like about it, because it's like you're
Yeah.
portraying Johnny, and he
I like
accepts
Johnny.
it. Yeah, he says, you know, there's this line, I'm like, oh, that's so fucking sad. Like, where you're like, to Johnny, can we forgive each other? And he says, yeah, V, I think we can. It's like, that's so heartbreaking, right?
Yeah.
Because like you really are one and the same. Like you care about him, you're friends, right? You're close. You know, he's living in your body, right? So it's like,
But you get to understand that's the part that Johnny is like. I really like Johnny as a character because, you know, at first he's like the stereotypical, okay, like he's, you know, anarchist, right? Burn everything down, and he's just like doesn't give a shit, and he's a bit of an asshole. But then you kind of understand that that is a persona that is layered, right? He created that persona because deep down inside he knew that the shit that he was really fighting for, it didn't really pay off, right? It didn't really pay off. They bombed Arasaka, and it was really for nothing, right? Because in the ending, all it did was build up the cause that Arasaka was fighting for, right? And everybody saw it as, oh, a loss of life, instead of being like, oh, we're taking down this giant conglomerate of a corporation, right? And there is a gig that is actually it's funny because there's a gig that mirrors that in this DLC with this woman who did a terrorist act, and so she's trying to rectify things, right?
yeah,
And,
that's the one I was talking about, where you have to make a choice.
yeah,
And that was really good.
that one
'cause
comes back to bite you in the ass because they
Yeah.
jump you too. Spoilers, but they jump you in that if you side
No,
with it.
it's the other one. There's one that is Netwatch is going after. She's the one that betrays you. Where that girl, she actually like lets you steal a car. So that one where she helps you steal a fucking car. That she'll call you up and she's like,
You
oh, there's
talking
this
about
thing.
the
Yeah, there's
she's
two.
working for-
Okay, there's this
she
girl with
works for
short hair,
Militech?
right?
Yeah, I know
There's
what you're
one
talking
that's
about, the
okay,
news
she's
reporter.
working. Yeah, so she was working for Militech, and then they find her and they want to
Yeah,
kill her.
I had
and
that
I
one-
saved her.
I was just showing
Yeah,
that quest on
Yeah,
screen.
she fucks you over. She's the one that gets you attacked by those mercenaries.
Right.
But if
That's
you
not what
choose-
I'm talking about though.
Yeah, but you're talking about that other girl. She doesn't fuck you over.
No, she doesn't screw you over, but if you help her, what ends up happening is you get jumped by the terrorist group. They set it up where it's like, oh, you think that you're gonna meet with the girl that you just helped out, but it turns out no, it was the terrorist group, and they come.
No,
and
see,
attack you.
see, that's what I'm saying. You're getting it wrong, because that ending where you're supposed to go meet that girl, right?
Right.
Because she texts you. That's actually the girl. That's the reporter. The girl that
No, that was not
like.
That
No,
was
that
not
is.
the
Yeah,
reporter.
that's what's because I remember,
I
because
don't
the one
remember it
that
being a reporter.
yeah, that's what it does, dude. The one that is the terrorist, she actually helps you steal a car, and then she's texting you. She's like, oh, you're a terrible fucking like are you like,
what did
I
you do in that quest? What did you do in that? Because
so I helped her. I shot I killed the cops that were after her, and I let her
Right.
go, and then she ends up helping you find a car in one of the in the bar guest or one of their things. She helps you find a car and you steal it, and that's the last mission that you do for her, like as like a thank you, whatever.
Okay, I don't
but-
remember doing that.
But
I
the
don't remember
hacker
doing that.
chick, she's the one that's an asshole, because she's the one that sets you up to get killed.
That's weird because this is why I'm getting confused, because the news reporter woman that sets you up, they sent Netwatch when I was at the ending of the game. So I already did the quest with that terrorist girl, and after I did that quest, I'm pretty sure I thought it was the same name that texted me saying meet up here, and I thought it was the same girl, and so that's why I thought, okay, yeah, I got jumped by the terrorist people.
Are you supposed to meet her, and she's like, oh, there's a blue container.
Yeah,
The blue container is that girl. That's the one that Netwatch was like, oh, she's bad news, and you're like, oh nah, fuck Netwatch, I'm gonna help
Okay.
her. Yeah, She's the
Yeah,
one that that's why
I
that's
got
why I was so
confused
pissed.
then.
That's why I was like, geez, I was like, damn, like fuck you. Like I should have helped NetWatch. You're such an asshole. Like turns out you're such a piece of shit.
I'm pretty sure I have that footage though, um, where that happens. But yeah, I'm still confused. I'm not gonna lie, I'm still confused because I don't understand how that happened when I didn't do the Militech quest until after I got jumped. So that's why I'm confused. But anyway, besides all of that, those are stuff that happens in the gigs. I do want to talk, and we'll end it off here because we did cross the mark that I did want to end off at. But just for a few more minutes, I do want to talk about the sort of sequel potential or where the story's heading, because as we've been mentioning, we've been talking about the Black Wall and all of this stuff, and to most people, like, they would see it in the game. It's in the base game a little bit, but there's a lot of things in the game that is pointing at sort of like an AI invasion, rogue AIs coming into the real world, right? And this, you guys may have not noticed this. I put this on Twitter. It's in a couple of videos. Some people are starting to pick up on this, but there's a character in the base game known as Mr. Blue Eyes, right? And he appears in the one ending of the game, where if you become the best merc in Night City or whatever, he shows up and he gets you a gig to raid a casino in space, right? But that character actually shows up hiding at the ending of another quest that involves the Paralysis family, which is a guy who's running for mayor, and he's supposedly being brainwashed remotely, and Johnny thinks it actually has to do with AIs. So now this character, if you do end up siding with Songbird, you'll actually see Mr. Blue Eyes in the train area of where you're trying to escape and get onto the shuttle ship. You'll actually see him watching you, which is really creepy. I don't have footage of that. I just have a screenshot. I can't really pull up the screenshot, but go and look. There's a couple of videos on it. You can actually see him watching you from a distance, and then when you're on the train, he also shows up again, looking behind a tree, watching you. So it's really creepy, and a lot of people have been speculating, what does this have to do? Is he a rogue AI? Is he a AI controlling a human being? A lot of weird things is going on. So I'm not sure if you have picked up on that, Blue Jay, or if you know anything of this. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it.
Mr. Okay, is it the one we side with Songbird?
Yeah, he only appears if you side with Songbird.
Okay, I didn't know. I mean, I've seen.
You would have not seen that, right? Because you guys did the
Yeah.
opposite one. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen gameplay from where you side with Songbird. I did see some gameplay at the ending. So okay, I did
Right.
know Mr. Blue Eyes. I didn't really think of that much of it, but I didn't think they were gonna like make it like some sort of sequel setup or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't even know this was a. I mean, I know it's gonna be some sort of sequel, but I didn't think it was gonna have a title.
Yeah, they have this is the working title. It's called Cyberpunk Orion. They already said that they're working on it. We don't know when it's coming out, because they are working on The Witcher 4 too, and we're supposed to also get
another 10 years for this.
I hope it. I mean, if the game takes place in Night City, I don't see why it should take all that long, unless they get really ambitious again, which I don't think they should get too ambitious. They already have a good baseline. Work with what you have and just build out a really cool story, because the AI stuff, and I guess maybe some people didn't realize, but there's a lot of alluding to AIs and rogue AIs and what the Black Wall, the potential of, if the Black Wall is destroyed, what would happen. Because this is like I said, this is some deep lore stuff that the game doesn't really get into, but AIs have already existed for quite a bit of time in the Cyberpunk universe, but they've been outlawed ever since I believe it's the Fourth Corporate War. Now, the corporate wars, those are like, again, another thing that you could talk about endlessly because they're not really mentioned in this game. They do mention like the unification war, and I think there's another war that happens too. But the corporation wars are essentially just a bunch of corporations. The way I describe it, it's like almost as if McDonald's hired a fucking army to fight another
Burger
corporation.
King. He fought
They
Burger
go
King.
fight Burger King. That's essentially what happens, which is messed up. Yeah, could you imagine a war between McDonald's and Burger King?
I fight for Burger King.
I
fight for Burger
That sounds like Cap.
Yeah, I fight for Burger King.
I don't
You
believe
fuck
that.
with, well, Burger King, they got the better burgers, but McDonald's has the
No,
better desserts.
I don't believe that.
They got the better desserts, yo. They got a cloud too. But
We've talked about this in person too. There's like three things at most I would buy at Burger King. No, that's Cap. Man. Yes, I'll believe that. Okay.
You just like your double cheeseburger, yo. But that Whopper is better. The Whopper tastes a lot better than than that
The
Big
Whopper,
Mac.
the chicken sandwich, and I really think that might.
But
be
the
it.
desserts are not. The desserts they're lacking desserts. I feel like McDonald's has the better desserts by a fucking landslide. The McFlurry.
I don't know about.
Oh, yo, that Oreo McFlurry. I could go for one right now too.
course.
Yeah, I
There
want
goes,
one.
like, a war between McDonald's and Burger King. That'd be
But that's
hilarious.
I'm telling you,
Doesn't
that's
happen.
literally what it is. It's as if McDonald's hired an army to fight Burger King, and
You're gonna have.
there's probably going to be a fifth corporate war, either in the second game or not. Well, it depends, right? Because this whole black wall thing that's going on, that could break out into the fifth corporate war, right? But there's a lot of other things in the game that, I mean,
Yeah.
like
They do
there's
mention it,
so many
though.
different things.
I feel like it's gonna happen because I think it was Solomon or someone said that like Myers is almost like building up for a corporate war. That's what she needs Songbird,
Right.
right? Because they need that ultimate. And the Militech was already creating their counter to the Soul Killer with
Yes,
Arasaka.
which we learn in this game, yeah. Or
yeah,
in this
with,
DLC.
with the gig and stuff, you find out like, oh shit, you're like, holy crap, this is a lot bigger than we thought. And they were doing this for years. It was a bunker, and you're like, holy shit, this was for a long time ago.
Yeah, but they abandoned it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They abandoned it. So either they're behind or they built a
But
new
that's the thing. If you
technology.
choose a Solomon ending, or if you get a taste of what they're creating, they created that weapon that you can't even fight, right? And it's controlled by Songbird. It's by Militech. It's like an abandoned like Blue Jay knows. It's like alien isolation almost. It's like you can't fight it, so you have to hide from it. And it's like a killer robot, but it's like just fucking insane, right?
Oh, don't get me started on that robot.
Yeah, that's some
my
traumatizing shit. Anxiety
Oh,
goes
man.
off.
every time, like the robot, like when I see, like every time, like I be in a room and the robot just comes out from the ceiling, like just like right in front of me, like shit. And then-
yeah, exactly. I
and
shit your
then-
fucking pants.
But there's a part that annoyed the crap out of me, and I was so stupid. I was like, well, I don't know what's going on, because like we have to hide from the robot for whatever amount of time. I didn't know what I was supposed to do, because I was like, okay, I come in to that room, that larger room,
Okay. Yes. Yes.
and then literally the robot will be
Yes.
literally across the room. I'll be opening the door. There's
Dead.
all coming out from the
Fucking
back.
dead.
I'm like,
Dead. Yeah.
yeah, it literally the objective says don't let the robot detect you. Isn't that like what I've been doing for the
Bruh.
duration of this entire mission?
I told him this too. I said the same shit. It says don't let it catch me. So I'm thinking, okay, I just
Oh man, the robot got him. Dude.
He's talking shit about the rope. Hey, and then motherfucker talking shit about
just-
me.
Yeah, then you guys both get wiped out. I didn't have to deal with that robot. Here's the thing, there's so many games coming out, man. I want to go back and do it. So I'll see. If I have time, because I have a new file too. I might go back and do the Solomon ending and fight Kurt Hansen and I keep wanting to say Chris Hansen.
Oh, Chris! Oh my God!
Yeah. Okay, he's back now. He's back. What were you saying?
Robot must have got you, bro.
Oh, what the hell's going on? Like every time I get hyped up, it disconnects me. It's like, bro, you can't get
Yeah,
too hyped.
it's a rogue AI. That's why.
Okay, as I was saying, what you were saying was 100% what I was telling Blinded, that it tells you, hey, don't get caught. So I'm like, okay, don't get caught. And I watch the pattern. Okay, it's looking somewhere else. Open the door, get killed. I got killed like 70 times, right? I didn't understand what the fuck was going on until I was like, okay, maybe you're supposed to just hide and just stay there until it goes away, and that's what you're supposed to do. But it doesn't. Whoever wrote that, you got to be more clear, okay? You got to
they
be
should
like,
patch that. Honestly,
they should patch that, because that's really stupid. It says don't get caught, okay, but it doesn't say, hey, avoid contact with or whatever until whatever or something like that. Like it should tell you, hey, that this is for a limited time.
I did.
And then you
I
can
did
move.
see that. Like, didn't because someone was saying that they had a problem where they had to wait for the robot to exit before they could leave the room. And if you try to leave the room while the robot's in the room with you, it would actually just catch you. Yeah.
See, the thing is like when I was with the robot. Okay, so I literally just went across the room. The first time I did it, okay, the robot was there. Went across the room. Okay, and then I hit it for a little bit. The robot looked from a different direction, hit across the room. And then literally, I was like, literally, somehow the robot suddenly has magical powers that know how to teleport across the room. I mean, I get like prying the door open can get his attention, but that does not a problem when it's like really right in the same room with me. I'm like, that was was ridiculous.
The way I figured it out was just because like I saw that it was doing the same exact pattern that it was doing every time, so I was like, oh, maybe this is like a pattern that like it just does, like you have to wait, right? Because it wasn't random, like it wasn't moving in random place. It was just going in the same direction the entire time. It was like it follows this routine and then does the same exact thing that it does every time. So that's why I was like, oh wait, this is stupid. You have to wait for it, and then yeah, you did, and then it leaves. I mean, that's so stupid. That's so stupid. Right, like who? Just the way they wrote it. Like if that's the one issue. Like if they were more clear. Like yeah, I thought it was an idiot. I thought, what the fuck is going on? Like what? Like am I just really bad at stealth or something? What the fuck is going on? Like it turns out the game, whoever wrote the objective, they definitely were not clear enough.
Yeah, they weren't specific enough. Yeah,
it took me on my 5th try, or my 6th try. I remember it was in my 6th try where I was like, okay, maybe I have to kind of just wait it a bit. But even if I did wait it, like my 5th try, I waited a bit, then okay, I kind of was like going around where the robot was kind of going around, and then I finally was like right by the door. Then I get killed. Like,
damn.
I was legitimately getting upset right now. Like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's such bullshit. It's such horseshit. It's like, yo, fuck you, dude, designer, quest designer, you bastard. You wasted 20 minutes of my time. I killed for 20 minutes back and forth because you just didn't write it clear. And it was so easy. Hiding from it was so simple, right? It was just a simple area you could hide in and it can never find you, right? And I was like, if I had done this like 20 minutes ago, I would have already been past this point. Yeah, that really added too much time to the playthrough. That was really stupid.
I wonder why they. I mean, because the Songbird ending, like I said, it's a lot more easier than what you guys had to deal with. I wonder why they did that exactly. Because I feel like there should have been more of like a face off or something. Because
yeah, you even versed not Miltech, you versed Max Tech. The police, the cybernetic police, they're called Max Tech, right?
Yeah. Hold on. Now I'm trying to. Yeah, you do fight them. I forgot. Yeah.
You fight them too in Solomon's ending. So you fight them. You fight Kurt. You fight the fucking robot barely. More just hide from it.
That's the point. That happens right before you do go into.
Yeah, right before you try to find. Yeah, and the chase was cool. You have to chase her down and find her. It's just like, I don't know. I'm not sure what you did for your thing, but
there was not a lot. It was basically what happens is the quest ends, right? The Firestarter quest ends. You have to wait a few days. Then Somber calls you and tells you to meet her in some like back alley in a van. And then you go to the airport with her. You sneak around the airport, and then I think basically like someone gets tipped off, or the NUSA, they tip off that you're at the airport, and so like the security and the NUSA are fighting, and so you kind of have to like navigate, and you kind of have some combat, right, to get to the elevator, and then you're sneaking around, and then you gotta, there's not a lot, I'm telling you, it's a lot of stealth, and then you gotta fight like waves of enemies, and then you get to the ending and you put her in the ship, and then you have a conversation with Johnny while the ship is like taking off and stuff, about like, Johnny's like, you got played, right? He's like, you got played, and he's like, what were you thinking of shit? But it's like, but then you kind of like, you could talk him down and be like, hey, she was in a bad position and stuff, far worse than me, and so there is that and stuff. But there wasn't really a lot going on. There's no like big boss that you fight, which is kind of disappointing. Like, I wish what should have happened, in my opinion, was I think you should have faced Alex, because I don't know what happens to Alex. I'm still confused, right? Because Alex does survive, right? In your ending, she dies.
She dies brutally.
Yes, but I don't know what happens to her in my ending. I don't know if she dies. So because you see her get away, right? She kills Kurt.
Fucking instantly,
and then that was it. I wish that you either faced her off, because she did seem like someone that you might need to fight, right? Because she was agile and she had different skills. And that would have been cool too. I think if I had to like go back, there's a couple of things. I did mention this on Twitter. I think I would have first off, I would have made Solomon play that whole cutscene in the trailer. That should have been a gameplay section, because in this game you play as a lot of different characters, right? Which is weird. Like you play as Kurt Hansen, then you play as the Cuban guy in the side mission.
She's a girl.
The Cuban guy, huh?
She's a girl, Cuban girl.
What? What are you talking about? That's a dude.
The Cuban assassin is a woman.
No way. No. It's a guy for me. It's a woman for you.
Oh, it's a woman for me. It was a woman.
Okay, I was not okay. I was
confused. Blue Jay. Yeah,
did you get that? Did you do that quest?
Yes, I did. I know what you're talking about. Like the I forgot what was the name, because your V's a dude, right?
Yes.
Mine's female. I think it's because it's like because like it's different, because like you're playing as wait, does your V have to play like the brother, the French brother? Okay, now it makes sense now, because I'm getting all confused. 'Cause I feel like the actual people.
Well, the Cuban gangster we're talking about, right? It's like ending, and it's like an ending side quest that you have to do for Mr. What's his name? Mr. Hands?
Yeah.
Hands, whatever his name is. That one, you play as that guy, then you play as Kurt Hansen. There was somebody else too in the end.
I never got to play as Kurt Hansen in mine.
Oh, you never did that? I messed up on that quest, by the way.
I didn't get it because I think because he's dead, I don't get to play it. I think they just cut it out once you kill him. Yeah, I don't think you get to play it if he's dead.
That's weird. That sucks. That sucks.
That sucks ass. That sucks ass, bro.
I messed up because I got that guy. I forget his name. I want to say Pablo or something. I'm sorry, but I can't remember the guy's name. But I got that guy killed. I was like, oh shit, I should never got that guy killed, right? But yeah, it was pretty cool that you play as Kurt Hansen. You like beat up the dude who's telling you the story of how he got into this problem where I think he sold off some generator, and so now the Bargus, they're coming after him. But yeah, I'm sort of disappointed that you didn't.
Wait a minute, are you talking about? Okay, there's a guy called Pablo.
It wasn't Pablo. Wait, I'm pretty sure his name wasn't Pablo. But
is there a thing a gig? Was it a gig?
It's a side quest.
No, but like, did Did it come off of a gig, or was it just a side quest? Like it was always a side quest. It wasn't a gig.
I don't know if it came off of a gig. It sounded
'Cause
like it
there's a
was just a
gig.
side quest
Ugh,
because the way you find it is random. You go, you have to. I mean, it shows up on your map, of course, right? But like you walk near the Bargus kind of like tents, and then some guy tells you, hey man, like I need your help or something like that. And so it's kind of random. It's you like if you're walking around, you might stumble on it, or if you look at your map, you'll end up doing it, right? Because they tell you where the gigs and all the side quests are. It's not like Breath of the Wild or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the ones that popped up for me, there's no Kurt Hansen one though.
Yeah, it's not. No, you won't know it's related to Kurt Hansen until the guy sits you down, and then you do a bunch of drugs, and then that's how you end up playing as Kurt Hansen, is because you are like in this hallucination where you think, well, you're hearing the story, and so you're envisioning it through Kurt Hansen's eyes, right?
Okay.
But yeah, it was pretty cool though. So that's why I was like, oh, they should have done that with Solomon, because it's not a cutscene, it's in the trailer, right? The CGI trailer. Like, why was that just exposition? That should have been in the game, in my opinion, right? Like, because that was actually interesting, right? Like, oh, he's in the train and then he gets shot up. Like, that could have been a gameplay section. But and then there was what was the other thing I was complaining about? I've completely forgot now. But yeah, well, there's few things I would have criticism of, but they're minor, right? Like I'm not gonna hold the game against it because it was already so good. So
yeah, that's right. It does lock you out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it locks you out if you do the my name quest. Then it locks you out, so you can't actually do it ever again.
Right.
Well.
Yeah, I only got locked out of 2 quests in the main game. But yeah.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, Scorpion's funeral and then another gig with a Ripper Doc. But yeah, what could you do? But any final thoughts? Because we're almost at the 2-hour mark.
Final thoughts about the like the sequel or the
just the game in general. What you would
Sorry.
Oh damn! What was that?
Fucking, I'm dying, dude. I'm dying of the fucking relic. It's got me, Johnny.
Oh,
okay. That's some cringe. But no. I think overall, I gotta say that the DLC is definitely the I feel like it's a bite-sized adventure, sure, but regarding DLC and regarding how it like really elevates certain characters and just I think it's like definitely the best if you want to say it's the best quest line from all the quest lines that you could do. Like, how you have Pan Am and Judy, and then you have like the main quest stuff with like Takimura and all that stuff. I gotta say it definitely is the best one. Like if you see it as that, if you see it as like just another quest line that's a big quest line, if you see it as that, then yes, I'd say this is like the best one. And absolutely, like, because it's I almost see it as like a main quest that is like another way to find like it feels like it's part of the main game. Now that it's in the game, like I just can't see it without the game, right? It is a DLC, but it still feels like this is part of the game. And so in that terms, like how you go do the Voodoo Brother stuff or the Voodoo Boys, and you help Pan Am and you help Takimura, in terms, Jesus Christ, that was terrifying. Yikers. But out of those
headphones by accident.
Out of those stuff, I would say this is definitely the best adventure that V goes on, and it's incredible. And I gotta say, hands down to CD Projekt for what they did with this, and it was incredible. It was a fun adventure. It was awesome quest, awesome story, and I absolutely loved every moment of it. And yeah, and I'm excited to see what else they're gonna do in the sequel. Excited for. Oh, I forgot to say one thing. I mentioned a bunch of characters, but I guess another character that I felt like he kind of fits in that Phantom Liberty thing is actually Takimura, because he's like a character that you kind of like can like as a person, but then disagree with the way he sees life. Because there's similarities, like I understand his point of view, but I feel like he's wrong. Because he is kind of like, I think, to be honest, he's probably a better version of Solomon. Because he's not like, he is a tool, and I think he doesn't realize that he is still a tool, But I feel like in his thing, there's more about honor. And it's not about me. Like he knows. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like he's on the wrong side, but there's still something about him that you're like, I get why he fights for Arasaka. There's some there's like a loyalty thing. Or Solomon, I'm
Well,
like,
yeah, they helped him. He would
they
be
helped him, right?
nowhere, right?
He'd be
Yeah.
nowhere, and it's almost like it's Solomon. It's a way Solomon. This is like he wants to be an NUSA agent, and Takemura wants to be an Arasaka soldier. He wants to be. This is a life that he wants, that he chose for himself to have. So it's like they both want this life. It's not like they're, and that if they don't have this life, then they don't feel like, they just feel that they're less off without that life, even though that life may not be the best option for them, or there's better
Right.
things they can do. And to be honest, if you do the depressing ending, Takemura calls you up and you're like, Jesus Christ, this man got fucked over so bad. I feel terrible for picking this ending, because everyone is just like, yikes, that ending is like a sad ending.
Yeah.
And it's like, ugh, I don't know about
Everybody
that ending,
gets
right?
screwed over in that ending, in my
Screwed
opinion.
over. That's just another character I want to mention overall in Cyberpunk, because I don't know if we're going to talk about Cyberpunk again in the least this Cyberpunk this game, but overall, a character that I really also enjoyed was Takemura. I think he was really well written, and he's Big G, he's buddy. He's after Johnny, you're like Takemura, bro. Like he's a homie, and I really enjoyed Takemura. So
I couldn't really.
yeah.
I liked his character, but yeah, I couldn't really side with him. I did save him. I did go back to save
I
him.
saved
but
him
yeah.
too. My first ending, I didn't know you could save him, so he died, but I did help Arasaka. So I'm not gonna help Arasaka this time. But
fuck
I did save
Arasaka,
him.
man.
Fuck
Fuck the
Arasaka.
corpos.
No, I would help Arasaka to kill Saburo, because I do not like Saburo. I think he's really fucking like just evil. To be honest, like he's evil.
That's the old
and
man. That's the old man.
the old man. Saburo
Okay.
is the old man. Yorinobu is the son, and Yorinobu.
Right.
You know what? I didn't know this, but he never tells you this, and I realized afterwards, like he does have a point why he doesn't like his dad. You're like, oh shit, I didn't realize that's why he doesn't
Yeah.
like his dad. It's because he's basically his dad's pet. Like his dad was eventually
Yeah, he was
gonna
gonna
put his
use
brain.
brain in
Yeah,
the body. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he doesn't like his father, and I didn't realize that until very late now. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
yo, fuck Saburo. Actually, yo, fuck Saburo. I don't even. I get Yorinobu's point. Fuck Saburo. The guy sucks ass. He's terrible. He's an actual villain.
Yeah.
Fuck the corpos, bro. That's what
But
I gotta say.
but yeah, what's your closing thoughts, Blue Jay?
Yeah, the Phantom Liberty was awesome, man. I really like. I was thinking, I never really thought like it was gonna be like as good as like as it is. Like, yeah, it's no business being as good though. Like, I expect
Yeah.
like just a cool little story DLC, but like it kind of it's so good. I thought it was like the main game, basically.
Mhm.
A lot of it, I really do like the character. Sombra is my favorite character of them all, and and some of the stuff I do look at it from a very moral perspective. Like I wanted to kind of just give some people a chance, even though I just kind of just I highly underestimate my choices a lot, kind of do a little too much, and overthink it too much. I do like it's like even like some of the new stuff like the new weapons and stuff are pretty cool. I did like I'm not a big fan of the ending that I picked. I feel like a dumbass for doing that. I should kind of rethink my choices. Just don't do it at all. I gotta get all the gigs done. So,
But I mean,
side
at
quests.
least I think the main point is that the choices that they gave you, they actually made you think. They were
Yeah.
actually choices. They made you reassess the characters and relation to you, which I feel like a lot of choices now, like even like something like Ghost of Tsushima. I always have this problem with Ghost of Tsushima where I feel like there should have never been a choice because it's so clear of what you should really do, right? And I know people disagree, but I just feel like narratively it doesn't make sense. Here, I feel like this actually feels like an RPG where you could be swayed in different directions. You could go from it at a moral perspective, like what Blue Jay was saying, or it could just be a gut reaction, right, of how you actually feel about the characters. And that's a testament to the writing. I feel like this should be applauded for the writing itself. It is that good, right? Not a lot of RPGs recently have really done this, right? Where it feels like we could debate, we could go on for hours about this. So, you know, kudos to them. This is a great DLC. I'm excited to see. Hopefully, we don't get another broken, buggy game, because it's going to be overshadowed, by, and no one's going to talk about the good writing of the game, right? They're just going to talk about how it's buggy and broken, right? So this game made me think, about how we should actually, maybe we shouldn't really be buying, maybe you should wait to make the game, right? If it takes 8 years to make the game, then it takes 8 years to make the game. But I'm not going to rush something that is going to end up being, an all-time classic, right? And I feel like Cyberpunk is, I think at this point in a couple years, it'll be like New Vegas. Everybody will be talking about this game, where it's like, oh yeah, Cyberpunk, man. You should go back and play Cyberpunk, play it with mods, right? Experience all the characters and all that stuff. I really do think it's going to be one of those games, right? It already sold a bunch. They're getting a TV show, which I'm really excited about. And I know Anthony was mentioning it in the chat. So this could be a franchise that has potential. This could be a game series that could go on. It could be like Mass Effect, where you can have like a trilogy that's all connected. So I'm excited. It's too bad we're gonna have to wait a long time, but you know what? Let them cook. Let them cook. If we're gonna get something this good. Yeah.
The longer the better now, please. Can we learn our lessons from last time, that just because a bunch of people were bitching and crying because it was delayed for like 3 weeks, like you remember November to December, everybody was bitching and crying. It's like, look,
delay it for years if you need to. I don't want to hear.
I think it's because of the shareholders. Though the shareholders were pushing them to release it. That's why it was like they had to release it. Great.
Yeah, and they're still complaining. They're still complaining because they're like, oh, they spent too much money on the update and the DLC. Or to fix the game, but it's like, no, that money, if the game came out now, this would be selling like crazy. It would be getting praised. Yeah, like
hotcakes. So
yeah. So
even people that don't play, like I know people that don't play games, or they don't play, like I know some people at work that just play FIFA. Right, they play FIFA and COD, and they still know what Cyberpunk is, because it had that much of a big impact when it first came out. Because even this, like, I was like, you know what Cyberpunk is? Like, yeah, but I wouldn't play that shit. And I'm like, oh, but like they know what it is. It's like, yeah, the game is big. When it first came out, it was big. It still is big. Right?
Yeah, this I'm telling you, if they put it on HBO, this is gonna be another Last of Us. I'm telling you, this is gonna be a franchise people will actually talk about for a long period of time. Because unlike, they're trying to make Blade Runner a franchise. We saw they're trying to make Ghost in the Shell live action movies. They tried with this genre, the cyberpunk genre, right? But this is the one that I think can be a franchise. There's enough lore. There's enough characters that you can make up that can fit in here. We didn't even talk about Morgan Blackhand. That's a character that, they can get another big actor to play him, right? Like Mike Pondsmith is like, oh, they should get George Clooney. I don't think they'll get George Clooney, but you could get Tom Hardy, you could get somebody else, right? And people would be excited and they'll play it, right? So, I'm excited. I hope the stream at least makes some, the people who are in the chat may be curious to go play the game. I know there's a lot of games coming out, and so we'll see. But I do want to thank RJ and Meta. I know Meta wasn't in the chat, but I do appreciate you guys for letting me host it on this channel. And anybody who stopped by, George, Anthony, I appreciate you guys. You guys always show up in our chats and stuff, so big ups to you guys. And so the next time we'll do this, we'll probably do a Spider-Man spoiler talk, and I'll probably ask RJ and Meta if I could potentially do a Alan Wake spoiler talk, because that's gonna be another game that's gonna be man, there's gonna be a lot of talk about. Yeah,
they announced 2 DLCs, 2 big
for
DLCs
Alan Wake.
Alan Wake 2.
Oh, I did not know.
There's free DLC that's big, and there's also paid DLC that's also big. They actually gave 2 names out for DLC. Yeah, they really want to. I'm more excited for the Alan segments. I was like, holy fuck.
I'm just curious to see how they can tie this into Control and what is it going on exactly. So, that's why I'm excited. I think that's another lore or universe building that I'm curious about.
Weird, just excited for Remedy's weird storytelling antics, like how they tell stories. No one's like them, right? There's nothing like Remedy. So
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we're gonna end it off here, guys. I appreciate Blue Jay and Monkey for coming in and staying for 2 hours talking about this. I'm passionate about this game. I love this game, so you know, I just enjoy talking about it. But anyway, peace, guys.
peace.